from Uyo, the capital's representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, has assured National Assembly workers of his willingness and readiness to mobilize resources for their better welfare. Abbas told the workers under the auspices of the Parliamentary Staff Association of Nigeria, PASAN, National Assembly chapter, that he would reach out to the President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, to address some issues affecting them. The Speaker gave the assurance when the Chairman of PASAN National Assembly chapter, Sunday Sabiyi, led other members of the executive of the union on a courtesy visit to his office in Abuja. While assuring the workers of payment of salaries and allowances arrears, the Speaker said he would liaise with his Senate counterpart on how to kickstart pension remittances and payments. Meanwhile, lawmakers in the House of Representatives has commenced the process of preventing the indiscriminate leakage of classified information to the public. The Green Chamber resolved to create a joint committee on national security, intelligence, information technology, and defense with a mandate to carry out forensic data storage, data protection, and flow of information of all security agencies, and to inspect the level of data security operated by some of the agencies. The committee is to focus on agencies such as the Nigerian Immigration Service, Nigeria Customs Service, the Nigeria Identity Management Commission, and other data collection agencies. The House resolution followed the adoption of a motion by a member of the People's Democratic Party from Oyo State, Adedeji Olajide, who noted that the rate at which classified and confidential documents gets to public domain and the social media was worrisome, and urged the House to put measures in place to address the development. In the meantime, the House of Representatives has also said that declaring a state of emergency on malaria could be a step in the right direction given the state of the bacterial disease across the country. The House called on the federal government to subsidize malaria drugs if it cannot make them free at all government-owned health centers for the benefit of Nigerians. Speaking at the inaugural meeting of the Committee on HIV and AIDS, Tuberculosis and Malaria Control, the chairman of the committee, Amobi Oga, said despite the rate of infection of malaria, most Nigerians could not access drugs because the drugs were quite expensive. The lawmaker also promised that the committee would do everything possible to rid the country of substandard and fake malaria drugs by stipulating appropriate sanctions for those producing them. He maintained that the committee would take a look at the operation and processes of the Global Fund in relation to intervention in the fight against HIV and AIDS. Away from that, the joint unions in the Federal Road Maintenance Agency FEMA have condemned the announcement by the Senate President Godswill Akpabio referring to some members of the agency's board as executive board members. The Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria, ASCSN, and Amalgamated Union of Public Corporation Civil Service Technical and Recreational Services Employees, AUP-CTRE, made their position known in a letter addressed to Akpabio. The letter, jointly signed by Paul Onimisi, ASCSN Chairman, and Abdul Mumin Idris, AUP-CTRE Chairman, described Akpabio as protecting them. He also disclosed some measures put in place to curb oil theft in the Niger Delta region, adding that President Bola Tinubu has approved some funds to get equipment that will help the military in the fight against oil theft. On judicial matters, Justice Owen Emefiele from the custody of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. The judge gave the order following a motion expert taken before him by Emefiele's legal team. Recall that EFCC arrested Emefiele on October 27, immediately after he was released from the custody of the Department of State Services, DSS, where he had been kept since June 10. And back here, Akwa Ibom State Government has commenced process towards creating a model of its integrated agroeconomic venture, the Ibom Model Farm, as it takes delivery of a 50-hectare parcel of land donated by Nsurubiam local government area for the project. The state governor, Pastor Umoino, while undertaking an inspection of the land for the proposed project at Ikot Edibon, Nsedubium, affirmed government's readiness to site a replica of the farm and other viable developments in any local government area that is willing to part with land based on comparative advantages, while urging communities to partner the state government for the enterprise. The governor lauded the trust of Nsedubium people in his administration's vision by setting the pace in availing the state government with required land for the farm project, stating that the site clearing has already commenced pending an official flag-off of the model farm within the month of November. He expressed optimism that the Igbo model farm will be similar to the multifaceted Shanghai farm in Novo, Benin Republic, adding that with the training component of the state government's Memorandum of Understanding with the experts, individuals and communities will soon be able to also replicate the enterprise at their levels. Moving on to Africa, where South African main opposition party has removed a member of parliament, Caleb Chachilia, from the coveted shadow cabinet over remarks he made on the Israel-Gaza war. Chachilia, who served as the shadow public enterprise minister for the Democratic Alliance DA, is said to have violated the party's position on the conflict. The DA leader, John Steenhuisen, described the Chachilia's behavior as selfish and pushing narrow self-interest above the common good. Reports say he will be replaced by Mimi Gondwe as the party's spokesperson on public enterprises. Still in Africa, Rwandan President Paul Kagame has introduced visa-free travel for all Africans, making Rwanda the fourth African country to do so. Kagame noted that the move was aimed at capitalizing on Africa's growing tourism market, driven by the public are the only African countries providing visa-free entry for all African citizens. On the foreign scene, Israeli ground troops have encircled Gaza City in the war against Hamas as top U.S. diplomat Antony Blinken arrived in Israel for a trip focused on concrete steps to minimize Palestinian civilian casualties. Ahead of Blinken's arrival, Israel's military said it had completed the encirclement of the narrow Palestinian territory's largest city, signaling a new phase in the nearly month-long conflict. Before his departure, Blinken said he would seek to ensure that harm to Palestinian civilians is reduced, in a visible shift of tone for the United States, which has promised full support and ramped up military aid to Israel. Still on the foreign scene, United Arab Emirates UAE Minister Noura Al-Kabi has warned that extremist groups could take advantage of the conflict in Israel and Gaza to cause more regional violence, noting that UAE was working relentlessly for a humanitarian ceasefire. Speaking at a conference in Abu Dhabi, Al-Kabi said they know the wider context and the net. According to her, the risks of regional spillover and further escalation in Israel, noting that strong diplomacy and cooperation. WHO representative in Nigeria, Dr. Walter Molumbo, who stated these at a retreat tagged Navigating Health Leadership from Promise to Impact,